champions of the innocent, motherfucker! Sorry about the mess. You should fuck off, Huey.
Huey, run!
Well. That ain't the invisible cunt.
All right, you're listening to episode what? I don't even know what are we on 4?
Yes, we're on 4.
Wow, it has already been a month of this. Does not seem like it at all.
It doesn't. It's gone by pretty quickly. It's been enjoyable.
Time definitely flies. So today, we kind of we want to have people on the show as guests every once in a while, and we were supposed to have one today, but he unfortunately could not be here. So it's just me, Ian, and with me as always is Seth.
Party on, Wayne.
Today we're going to be doing one of the greatest shows I've seen in a very long time, and it's relatively still new, and it's definitely fresh in my memory because I watched it not last weekend, but I think it was the weekend before, after hearing so many people just talking about it online and the reviews that came out. You know, you can't watch a YouTube video without seeing a preview for it, and it looked really good. I just never got around to seeing it, and we're going to talk about The Boys.
Yeah, I went into this thing not knowing a whole lot about it. I've never read the novel.
Which is what people were telling me to do, but I didn't want to. I just wanted to watch it for what it was because I have this thing with comic books, TV shows, and movies. Like with The Flash and Arrow, I'm very, very, very familiar with those characters, and I just wanted to watch it with fresh eyes.
Yeah, I did as well. I didn't want to have to nitpick anything. As we tend to do.
If you're any kind of nerd, if you read a book and they make it a movie, you're going to nitpick. And I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to watch it. And that's exactly what I did. Loved it. Absolutely fantastic show. Can't recommend it to enough people.
No, I can't either. And I also want to preface this whole review with, I know we gush a lot about the things we've done so far, but these are the early episodes. We want you people to understand what we like so it justifies what we don't like.
Yes.
Because trust me, we're going to rip some things apart here later.
Oh, yeah. We actually talked, we were hanging out last night because a lot of this podcast are just our bar conversations, realistically. And we were hanging out last night and we were like, what are we going to do for the next episode after we do The Boys? And we'll tell you at the end of this, but what we got, there's going to be some gushing, and just like with Indiana Jones, there's going to be some ass reaming.
Absolutely.
Because what we are going to talk about is something that I love and something that I hate. So, little spoilers later on at the end of the episode, like we tend to do. We're not going to tell you now. But, okay.
Well, let's start with what got us the moment that we knew the show was going to be something very different.
For me, it might be the same for you, but for me, it was, you've got Starlight. She's auditioning to be in the Seven, which, is basically the Justice League. There's going to be a lot of comparisons to regular comics, but it's like the Justice League, and they're down a member or something, and she gets in, and she's being shown the, quote unquote Watchtower or whatever, and the Deep just pulls out his thing.
Oh yeah, he took it out.
He took it out because there's his ass, and he didn't only take it out; he's stroking it.
Yeah, it was quite jarring. I was like, "Whoa, we're going here."
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought was, "What in the hell is this? This is not something that I've ever seen in a comic book TV show." I mean, you could argue that you might see it in Deadpool, but even Deadpool would not. I don't think.
No, with as daring as that was, and we'll get into that in a sec. I think the part that got me just immediately was when his girlfriend was obliterated by A-Train.
And I can't remember which came first, that or that, but those were two definitely key moments where they let you know, like, this is not your regular superhero show.
It was a very strong first episode.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I watched the first episode. I did not get up for about 7 hours. I watched the entire series, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to pee. That never even crossed my mind to get up and pee.
Yeah, I finished it in a day as well.
Yeah, didn't get up, didn't do anything. That's just how great it was. Character-wise, just looking at, some of the main characters, I think you brought it up yesterday, Homelander, my God.
He is an absolute monster. It's so just creepy how disjointed he is and how unhinged he is, and does it with a smile on his face. Man, it's so frightening. It's
man.
exactly what Superman would be had he been, born in a lab.
Yeah, or just grown up in somewhere other than Smallville.
Yeah.
I mean, if he'd had crashed in like New York or Gotham, God forbid,
Yeah, raised by the Waynes.
yeah, he would have been a whole different person. Or I mean, you could argue that if Superman landed with the Waynes, he probably would have turned out just fine because the Waynes were actually good people. But anybody else in that city,
Yeah.
and that's just what Homeland. Like you start out the season with, you don't know, you think Homelander is going to be, he comes across as this nice guy, and then just as the show progresses, you see just how mentally unstable this godlike character actually is, and if he decided to snap, everyone is screwed.
And you've kind of got an inkling of that at the very beginning, but it doesn't really hit home until he. By the way, we're going to be spoiling this show,
Obviously.
So if you guys haven't seen it, then I would go watch it and come back.
Take
and
a
listen to
Sunday
this.
just to dedicate yourself to it. It is worth the watch.
But when he's flying next to that plane and then his eyes start glowing and he takes it down with heat vision, I was appalled.
Yeah,
I couldn't. I hated him instantly.
I did, and you didn't even have to see his eyes glow for me before. As soon as I saw that little kid look out the window, I knew exactly what was about to happen.
Yeah, it was just it was brutal. I can't believe what a disparaging character this guy is.
Oh yeah, and then that goes into later on the other plane sequence.
Probably my favorite scene of the show.
Definitely one of the best. We're talking where him and Queen Maeve have to show up and stop this terrorist hijacking, and he's uber powerful, and he kind of screws up and accidentally kills the pilot and screws up the controls, and he's like, "There's no way we're saving this plane." And even Maeve brought up a very good point, or she's like, "Why don't you just go outside and lift the plane?" There's nothing to. He brought it up a very good point. He's like, "There's nothing for me to lift from. There's no ground beneath me. I can't lift it up." And in that moment, I said, "Hey, yeah, wait a second. That makes perfect sense. What the hell? Physics."
Yeah. Or he's lying.
Or he's lying. I honestly think he wasn't lying, because if he'd have saved them, it would have been great for them, and then he had to spin it later. But I honestly think he was telling the truth. He couldn't, because he's right. Based on gravity and physics, there's nothing for him to keep the plane up in the air.
And what made it so much more atrocious is that the whole reason they went up there to save this plane, these people in this plane anyway, was a PR stunt.
Exactly.
It was the premise of the show, guys. We're getting ahead of ourselves because this show is this good. There's so much to talk about, but basically in this world, superheroes exist, and there's a company called Vought that has basically made them a product,
industrialized them. Yeah,
and they're kind of like mercs for hire. They sell them to the government. The cities want a superhero. Oh, well, then we'll give you.
Yeah, we'll move you to Sandusky.
Yeah, we'll give you translucent. And you pay us $200 million a year. So
exactly, it is such a commodity. It's probably the biggest commodity in the world. Is these superheroes,
and every one of them are they're nasty. They're just not good people. None of them are.
Well, except for one.
Except for one.
Maybe you could argue Queen Maeve, but
Queen Maeve she's
over it.
She's cynical. She's very cynical, and she just kind of doesn't care anymore.
She's been around. She's been the only woman in this seven the entire time, and she's just been broken, basically.
Yeah, broken down, beaten. Her spirit's been just demolished, and you can tell it. I wish they'd have spent more time with her.
I hope they do in the next season for at least, give me a good 25 minutes of her backstory.
I really liked when she and Starlight were talking. There were like maybe 3 or 4 times that happened, and I wanted more of that. I thought that she could have been. I thought they were going to make it to where Maeve was going to take her side, and we're going to turn against these guys. Maybe that comes later, but
because the first time that you see Maeve and Starlight talk is in the very first episode after Starlight just got done performing, Beej on the Deep. After he basically talked her into it, she's in the bathroom vomiting, and she's just like, "Clean yourself up. Don't let them see you cry," or whatever. And like, this person has been doing this for so long with these guys that she's just over it, and she doesn't give a damn what happens to this woman. And it was kind of at that point, I'm like, I want to know more about this person. I know everything I need to know about Starlight. She's, Kansas City girl out in the big city. We don't need any backstory on her. It's the other people.
Exactly.
It's the 7 that I want to know more about. Ain't gonna learn nothing more about Translucent, but we'll get into that.
Nor Black Noir, probably.
And for some reason I'm comfortable with that.
I'm fine with that too. It's a real nice spin on that type of character.
On Batman, basically.
Yeah, he's basically Batman.
So we've got the 7. We've got Homelander, which we talked about, and then you've got Queen Maeve, the Deep, who
a great parody on Aquaman.
Very good parody on Aquaman, but also kind of a great look at what has been going on recently with women and the Me Too thing. Like, he is basically one of those people that is put in power and uses it, to his advantage to basically get what he wants, and they called him out on it.
You damn right they did.
And he got the
I
greatest...
really applauded the writers of this show for taking that risk.
Oh, yes.
And just making it, and it wasn't preachy. It was just something that happened in the story, and it meant something because it was all a part of how terrible these people are, and that Starlight's going to be the one that comes through and lets everybody know this shit.
Oh, yeah. And what I love is that when he got his comeuppance, they basically told him, after he went on, did his apology, let everybody know that, what I did was wrong. They moved his ass to one of the worst places you could be. Like you said, like they moved him to Sandusky by himself, where there's a lake.
Yeah.
That's it. And you see him just start to lose his mind. He starts to understand the gravity of what he's done to people. And he has basically his Britney Spears moment where he just starts shaving his head, looking in the mirror like, I hate you. And I don't feel sorry for this character at all, because you should hate yourself. You're a scumbag.
Absolutely. He deserved everything that happened to him.
Yeah.
And most of these characters do.
Yeah, maybe, and this is just a prediction, not read the books, not going to read the books, maybe he comes to terms with the fact that he is a piece of crap and tries to do right, and maybe tries to help Starlight in the next season. I'm not sure. That's just a guess. Okay, so,
I wouldn't mind that at all.
So after the Deep, you've got A-Train, who was... All these characters are fascinating. A-Train especially, because... you introduced this drug. I can't remember what it was called for the life of me.
Oh, you know what? Now that you mention it, I can't either.
Is that the blue stuff that basically creates superheroes as children or babies, basically? And if you take it as an adult, it's kind of like crack, where it or whatever. It's a drug. It makes you more powerful, but it's addicting as hell. And like you saw with A-Train at the end. It starts to wear him down. It roughs up his heart, and it. Can I just point out, like, why is the only black superhero the one with the drug problem on this show?
Oh my god!
I'm just saying what I saw. Why is that the case?
He's the only one that they showed it, but they imply that they're all addicted to it. That they all have the juice.
See, and that's the problem, though, is because...
But Starlight never does.
I know Homelander knows it exists. I know that because he says, like, he talks to A-Train about it. I don't think they're using it. I think he's the only one that uses it, because Homelander knows it exists. Homelander doesn't need it. Queen Maeve doesn't need it. I don't even think Black Noir is a metahuman, because we haven't seen him do
that way.
Yeah, we haven't seen him do any metahuman shit. He's basically Batman, which I'm fine with. But I think he's the only one that used it, aside from his girlfriend. And I honestly think that we might get away from that in the next season, because this was it wasn't even about the drugs. No,
the drug was just, it was just basically a plot device that let you know that this is why these people are.
And it also let you know why A-Train, ran through Huey's girlfriend in the first place.
Yeah.
Which set this whole series in motion, which was... You don't really know at the beginning, but once you figure out that he was on this drug when it happened, and like, oh god, if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't even have this show, which is great. So I like the introduction of the drug, but we just need to get away from it.
Yeah, I agree. Especially the way the season ends. Holy crap.
Okay, yeah, we'll get into that, because we're not even done with the 7.
No, we're not, and we also still haven't talked about the titular characters.
Yeah. So after A-Train, you have Translucent, who I actually kind of liked the fact that he wasn't just invisible. Like he also had this other power where his
he
skin
was impenetrable.
Like,
he was kind of like
invulnerable.
Luke Cage.
Yeah, exactly. And he could also turn invisible, which made him even more valuable. And just the whole when they got him in the cage and he's just being a smart ass prick. And what did they do? They shoved dynamite up his ass because that's the only thing they could think of.
That whole sequence of like everything they're doing just keeps surprising me, and I'm just like, where's this? This show just knows no bounds.
No,
and it doesn't care, and I love it.
absolutely. Now, then you got Black Noir, who you only see collectively on screen for maybe 2 minutes. For the entire 8 episodes.
And most of that's his little advertisement.
Yeah, but when you do actually see him, he's just sitting there in the conference room or when he's fighting Kimiko, and it's not really anything super powery. He's just a fighter.
Yeah,
which is
pretty
why
much.
I think he's basically Batman. I don't even think he has powers, but I don't know. He might in the comic book, and I'll say this probably 3 more times before this episode's over. Not going to read it.
I might later, but not before the show's over.
Yeah, because I don't know how long they're going to go, but as far as online streaming series go, they really don't last a whole lot, do they? I mean, most of them go for only about 2 or 3 seasons.
In a lot of situations, that's a good thing.
Right.
I'm glad that I'm fine with 3 or 4 seasons. I'm good with it.
Yeah, just make sure you get to the point and don't drag it out.
Yeah, get to the point, tell a great story, and then you got work you're proud of. Instead of ending it on a sour note where things have gotten so thin that it doesn't matter anymore and nobody cares and you've lost major characters and you're trying to do it without them. It just, tell your story and get it over with.
Now, the boys themselves.
Yes.
It's taking us about 16 minutes to get to this part. I want to talk about Carl Urban.
What a fantastic performance.
Yeah, he nailed it.
He never disappoints on screen, dude. I've never seen him in anything I didn't like him.
I even like him in Doom, and I don't like Doom.
Exactly.
But,
he's great in everything he's ever been in my opinion.
And I haven't seen everything he's ever done, but when I do see him on screen, he does not disappoint. But I just love Carl Urban's, or Butcher. I love his attitude towards Soups, especially when you find out why he is the way he is. And spoilers, why the reason he hates these superheroes or Soups is because apparently Homelander raped his wife and then killed her, which is what he believes. And then we find out later that's not necessarily what happened, because you can say that she was raped, but I am kind of the belief that once you saw the video of her going into his office, she did not strike me as a victim. She was just trying to like get her shoes back on and whatever.
They left that ambiguous.
They did, and I'm okay with that because you find out later that she got pregnant and the superhero baby that was inside her killed her. And then you find out later that no, that baby's still alive. She's still alive. Cut to credits. Show's over. What?
Yeah, I said what the F right then and there. That's how because I'm not used to cliffhangers anymore.
I'm not either.
Shows they had to kind of wrap up within their own seasons. They tell their own little stories but I don't know. That was a nice one. I was upset at first.
I was too, but it also kind of left it open to interpretation about what actually happened.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Because that's the first thing I was like, she's still alive?
Yeah.
How? How did he not know?
I don't know. Probably Vought is paying all the bills and keeping her off the grid. And and it also lets me think that maybe she wasn't necessarily raped because why would you not have reached out to Butcher? This has been like 8-9 years.
Unless her confinement's under pain of death.
Maybe. But if that's the case, then why did you bring Butcher to her?
See, there's so many questions up in the air, and I love that about this show is you don't really get that anymore with TV, and this show does this.
But I totally understand why he would think that was the case, because some random secret ops person came to him, told him that was the case, and he couldn't find his wife. So yeah, okay, that puts in your head that all of these people are horrible.
Yeah,
it does. I totally get his motivation.
Especially when the depravity reaches new levels whenever they're doing the whole like documentary about Homelander, and it's showing where he grew up.
Yeah.
And yeah, my mom made me these sheets, and I played baseball with my dad every day. And then it cuts, and it's all a fraud.
It's all bullshit.
It's all, he doesn't know what this house is. He's never been there before ever. They're just filming it for propaganda.
It's PR bullcrap because they're trying to get another major thing in this show is they are trying to get superheroes into the military.
Yeah.
Which is another thing. Like for me, if I'm running America, I'm like, why are they not in the military to begin with? I understand that it's a big deal in the show, but if the superheroes exist, they're gonna fight.
It's because in the show they're a threat because they've already proven that they can't be trusted with their power.
Not to mention that if I think another thing they brought up is that if you let superheroes in the military, the only alternative, the only deterrent we have is nuclear war. Because that's basically what Homelander is. He is a 50-ton nuclear bomb walking around.
Pretty much. And again, because Homelander's a bastard, he's the one that goes over and uses that drug to make superheroes in the Middle East. Just so they have a reason to have a war, so they have to have superheroes in the military.
Which, if you were going to do that anyway, why did you even have to spin the flight gone wrong to your own personal agenda?
Because to accomplish something on that level, you have to play every side, and that's what he's doing.
Which is not... I mean, he played it smart, even though he's a bastard, man.
Yeah, he's crazy, not stupid.
No. So, there's one character's motivation I did not understand, and that's Mother's Milk. Because he was just kind of, Butcher's friend, and they never really dive into why he's doing this. Not to say I don't mind, but I understand literally everyone else's.
It was the old trope of, we used to serve together and you owe me and so on. It was that whole thing, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, you don't have to dive into everybody's, but I mean, maybe give me 10 seconds of dialogue at least.
Well, and that's the thing. You don't know much about their past, but their dichotomy together is so interesting.
And definitely off the handles because you know from the beginning that Mother's Milk and Frenchie do not like each other at all.
At all. I liked Frenchie.
I did too.
I just wish, and I don't mean this to sound insensitive, I wish his accent wasn't so thick. I had to turn on the subtitles sometimes. Then again, I am a little hard of hearing because I listen to live music constantly.
And I didn't necessarily have a problem understanding him, but I kind of understand what you mean. But you really got to drive that French thing home if you're gonna if you're gonna call him Frenchie, he's got to be talking.
I loved him as a character. He was just likable. He was just a little.
He absolutely was. I think none of the boys were unlikable.
Oh no, not at all.
Not at all. Even though Butcher was probably the most assholishness, I guess is a good word.
Yeah.
You still rooted for him.
Yeah, because you understood it.
You understood it later, but as soon as you see him, you're like, this guy's a dick, but I like it. I like this
exactly.
guy. I like this guy. I can dig that. And then you don't realize until maybe halfway through, maybe later, that he's doing this because. Which I like that they didn't just come out and tell you right away. You just got to sit through this, and eventually you'll find out.
Exactly.
Now, and for that matter, Huey, man, what I loved watching Huey's progression throughout this entire show because he's one of the only people that actually does have a character arc.
He has a good one. He basically comes into his own and becomes a man.
Because
you see that when he's got. By the way, Simon Pegg is this guy's father, which is fantastic. Yeah. And I learned today. I was watching some clips, preparing, and I learned that the Huey character in the comic is actually designed after Simon Pegg. So him being in the series is a kind of an Easter egg.
That's funny.
And he has a very I'll give his American accent an 8 or 9.
It was not bad in this. I'm not gonna lie. I expected it to creep out every once in a while because as soon as he was talking, I'm listening like, you gonna break? I know you are. Mm-hmm. He did not.
But I mean, every time that Huey and Simon Pegg get together, he's always berating his son about not going out and being more outgoing and doing more things. And
when in real life, realistically speaking, his dad is just lecturing him about things that he's not doing either.
Exactly. He's trying to live vicariously through his son, and you really get why Huey just wants to leave and why he changes so much.
Yeah, especially when like the pivotal moment of this character is when, you know, Translucent is out of the cage. He's like, and Huey has the detonator, and he just lets Translucent walk, and you think for a second, like, okay, this guy's a pushover, and then he hits the button, and that's when I knew, okay, this guy, he just grew a sack.
Yeah, he did. Right then and there, you knew that he was in it for the long haul.
Which is wonderful. I love how they gave you that sense of you know, when he lets him walk and then he hits the button. I thought for a second Translucent was free. I thought Huey was a bitch and a pushover. Then he hits the button. Like, wow, you tricked me. Well done.
Yeah,
well done.
Good job, TV show.
Yeah, I don't know who to credit for that because I don't know who the director is or any of the writers. It's a good job, show.
Yeah,
you did it,
much.
show.
You did it.
Okay, I feel like we covered everybody that we could possibly do.
Oh, the little Weapon X chick.
Oh, Kimiko.
Yeah, Kimiko.
So her power is she's a psycho and doesn't die.
Yeah, she's got a healing factor, it looks like.
That's because you see Black Noir just basically slice her in half, and then no, she's fine.
No, she's okay later.
That was a healing factor that Wolverine would be jealous of because my God, she healed almost immediately.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Which I guess basically that's who they're modeling her after is kind of Wolverine because she's like this savage who can't die.
Yeah, and I felt really, really bad for her. You could tell just how scared she was.
Mm-hmm. And then you get into her backstory as well, which, you know, I understood that too. She just wants to get home.
Yeah, she wants to help her brother. There's just the writing in this show is just so good. Nothing's boring.
No, not for like that. That's, and I know we said this earlier in the podcast. We're just talking about a lot of stuff that we love. Like this show's time, like 8 episodes of perfect timing.
And I'm so glad the season was that short. It was
too.
tight.
It was slightly disappointing when it ended, and I'm like, wait, what do you mean it's over?
Yeah, because you want more.
I wanted more, especially if you're going to leave me with that. Are you serious?
Oh my God! You just you took it away from me almost. But
yeah.
No, it was a good feeling of despair.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God! No, you can't end now.
Oh, we are leaving out one character, and I do not know her name. Elizabeth Shue.
Oh yes. We'll just call her Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah, she's basically
she's CEO.
I don't know if she's CEO because when she got the military contract or something, they promoted her. So I think she was just head of superhero affairs or some garbage like that. I don't know her official title.
Like, you know what? I think she was like head of marketing or something.
Probably that's what it was.
I don't know, and I'm glad you brought her up because I almost forgot about her because I don't know what to think about her performance. I'm on the fence with it.
I liked her performance. I liked her character because she is basically kind of like I won't say Amanda Waller. If you read any comics,
she's not quite that. She's more. I don't know.
She's basically just looking out for herself and just trying to make that paycheck and, you know, make these people look as good as possible. Like she is the perfect. I wouldn't say villain, but she's almost like a puppeteer.
Yeah.
I really liked her character, even though there wasn't a whole lot of development with it, which I'm okay with. From start to finish, this character does not change because it's the same thing that we got at the very beginning, right up until Homelander burned her eyes out.
I was not expecting that.
I wasn't at first, but as soon as he kissed her on the forehead, because she in the very last episode she's strapped to a bomb, Butcher's got her, and Homelander shows up. He kisses her on the forehead. I'm like, oh no,
right
she's
through the
out.
eye sockets.
And then as soon as Homelander burned her eyes out, I thought, okay, Butch, what do you got?
Yeah,
and he's just like, screw it, and he hit the detonator. Oh, I liked him. All right, well, I guess nope, he's okay. Damn it! Stop doing this to me, show.
But I'll give her this. I'll give she gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh yeah,
constantly. Every time she was on screen, I was very uncomfortable.
I was too, especially when the whole time you think that she's got Homelander by this string, but realistically, he could have let her go at any time.
Oh yeah,
which he did. I just thought that she was playing puppet master the entire time. No, Homelander was just going along with this.
Yeah, he had a grander scheme. Man, what a great antagonist. I can't get enough of that character. And I don't know the guy's name who plays him. Do you know?
No, but I can look it up. But yeah, go ahead.
That actor, the way he just dived into this role, and you can tell he's having so much fun with it.
His name is Anthony Starr.
Anthony Starr.
Anthony, not Anthony. But yeah, he just so creepy.
Yeah.
Like, once you find out what he's about, when he takes down that plane, it's just nothing but I am so afraid of what this character's going to do.
Yeah.
From that moment on, he just stood there with a smile like a psychopath.
Yep, he does. Oh, and we completely forgot to mention how just another despicable thing these people do. They use God to make people follow them.
Mm-hmm. Basically, by saying that God chose us.
Yeah, we're chosen by
power.
God to have these powers to protect you, and they're basically golden idols.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
it is the most despicable thing these people could possibly do, and every one of them are about it. And I loved when Starlight got on the stage and was starting to read off the teleprompter. He was like, you know what? Screw this shit. I can't do it anymore. I loved it.
That was absolutely one of my favorite scenes. Is when she just said, "You know what? Screw all of you. Screw this. This is not real."
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody put their dick in my face.
I loved that. Loved that part. I was like, you go.
Yes, absolutely. You know what? Hell yeah. Good on you. And then you find out later on that, Vought has been manufacturing these superheroes as children, and then she finally has that confrontation with her mother, who has basically been using her as kind of like this, what are those people called, who basically parade their kid from show to show?
Oh, the
pageant mom, yeah.
Yeah, pageant
basically,
mom.
She's been doing this whole pageant mom thing her entire life and making her believe that she was actually chosen, and then you find out, no, they just offered to, pay the medical bills and make you a star.
Yeah, which is everything you find out about this organization and the people involved in it. None of them are good people. I was so shocked.
The levels that they have their hand in, sorry, I just love this show. The depths of society that this corporation has their hand in is amazing. If you actually sit back and think about it, they're using religion to worship these superheroes that they, in fact, themselves made with this drug that they are also using to create enemies across the sea. And try to get these people in the military. It's amazing.
It's the definition of evil.
Yes,
it's one of the most evil plots I've ever seen in a show.
I know. The only other evil corporation I could think of that even rivals that is probably Ultratech from Killer Instinct.
Yeah, Ultratech or
LexCorp. Something. I don't know. It's amazing.
But it's just so much more devious than that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the way they just play everyone to their will. They're near unstoppable because they got their hand in everything.
Yeah, and
even the woman that Butcher goes to for help at the second to last episode.
She was the one who initially recruited him at the very beginning of his crusade.
Yeah, wants nothing to do with it because these people are so dangerous.
Yeah, she got herself a house in the woods and went off the grid. She's like, I don't want these people finding me.
Yeah, it was just guys. I could sit here and gush about this show all damn night, but was there anything at all that you found that isn't quite up to the rest of the show? Anything that fell flat?
Oh man. I look at it with such rose-colored glasses that I can't even think of what I hated.
If I have anything at all, it's probably with how fast Huey locked on to Starlight.
Yeah.
As traumatic as that experience would have been, it was a little unbelievable.
Yeah, they are moving a little fast, but I mean,
you can kind of get it too because he's just looking for. That's probably the biggest rebound ever.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, I don't know what her name is, but you put Starlight in front of me, I'm falling in love. I tell you that chick is hot. But I understand what you're saying, but I also kind of understood it because at first he was just trying to get intel, and then later on he realizes that I don't want to do this anymore because he spent more time with her, and as soon as he kissed her, the ghost of his ex-girlfriend just disappeared, and he got over it. I don't know. Well, he didn't get over it, but he wasn't letting her hold him back anymore.
Right.
Which I completely understood, and I think it was also watching her up on stage just admit that this world is not what everybody thinks it is. He knew that he could also kind of get her on their side.
Yeah. No, I see where you're coming from. I just and I get why they wrote that in.
Right.
I just and it's such a minor detail because they don't throw it into your face the whole love thing between those two.
No, and they never once say that they are in love.
No. And I'm glad they treated it that way in the show.
Yeah, like can y'all just be dating for 8 episodes? Because like y'all need to settle down. Because if they had come out there at the very last episode and be like, "I love you, Huey. I love you, Starlight." All right, time out. No, you don't. Slow down. But they didn't, so I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah.
But other than that, any faults I have with this show are going to be so minor that I can't even think of what they are.
Yeah, it would require some serious
definitely
nitpicking.
Another rewatch. I do not like that I didn't get to see as much Black Noir.
Yeah, or Maeve,
but they told me everything that I needed to know about this character when she went to go visit her ex-girlfriend.
I forgot about that. That was good.
They basically. They didn't actually say it, but they live in this world where superheroes cannot be that. Like you have to be dating Homelander because it's great for PR.
Right.
It ups your points. You can't just be dating some normal human woman. She was drunk and she was crying, and I understood that character perfectly. And I understood what this corporation was making these superheroes do and be. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're not who we say you have to be, we'll boot you to somewhere else, like they did with the Deep. We'll send your ass to Sandusky.
Yeah, we'll just basically disown you.
We'll replace you
and blacklist you.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened with the Deep, and that's what I love about this corporation is that they are constantly making you what they want,
and you're totally afraid of them.
Yeah, because
it is
Homelander.
Because Homelander.
Basically,
God, what a nightmare.
I know. Just living in a world where Superman exists and you have to do whatever he says. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I loved about Homelander is just how menacing he is because everyone's afraid of him.
Yeah, and he doesn't strike you as a sociopath or like he knows what he's doing is wrong, but he does it with a smile. And it's terrifying because there's no remorse. There's no second guessing. Mm-mm. When he does something, he does it, and he does it with a smile, and it's terrifying.
And he, quote unquote, he knows he's right all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he is basically a god,
and he knows it.
Oh yeah, he knows it. No, there's to my knowledge of this universe, there's no other superhero that comes close.
No, not at all.
Not to his level.
No.
Just like in the Justice League, Superman is basically the boss if he wanted to be.
But he's not.
Yeah, because
that's and that's such. I'm glad that they went the way they did with Homelander. I was actually expecting him to be something else, and he wasn't.
I don't know what I was expecting, but as soon as I saw what the Deep did, I knew that these people were not, the best people.
Right.
But once you saw what Homelander can do and what he has done, it changed the game. It changed the entire show for me.
It absolutely did. This is such a great departure for comic book adaptations, period.
Yes.
I got a feeling that this is going to, again, help to revolutionize or evolve comic book cinema.
I definitely hope so.
Because people loved it, and it's gritty, it's brutal, it's not for kids,
and it's overwhelmingly realistic.
Yeah.
And
it also doesn't pander to you at all.
And I don't mean realistic like I know there's freaking people shooting lasers out of their eyes and flying around. I mean realistic. What would society become if these people existed?
Yeah, and it is a very plausible reality.
Yeah, because Avengers is more realistic than the Justice League because Tony Stark is the one who builds and pays for everything, but they still answer to S.H.I.E.L.D., a government agency.
Right.
The Justice League does whatever the hell they feel like they need to do. They don't answer to anybody. But realistically speaking, I feel like The Boys is more realistic for what would happen if this situation were to take place.
Yeah.
That's what's even more terrifying about Homelander.
It's a great commentary on humanity. It just really is, on society, period.
Last thing, this isn't a nitpick, but damn it, I thought it was clever. When they blow up Translucent and they bury his body, you didn't even have to say it, but Homelander looks at the Deep and they got this box like, the Deep, what can I not see through? Zinc. I'm like, oh, shut up! Because for those of you who don't know, Superman can't see through lead, which is just... That was just an extra little thing they gave you. They didn't even have to do that, but that was just, you sons of bitch. That's like the one little thing I did not like is that you didn't have to do that.
No, you didn't, but
it was stupid and it was a fan service.
It was.
So that's, I know we could gush about this, but we'd probably end up repeating ourselves a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have anything else on The Boys.
I don't either. I can't recommend it highly enough.
Absolutely not.
I can't wait for the second season to come out because I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Oh yeah, there's so many people that like the person who turned me onto this show. I told him we were going to be doing this, and he's like, "When is it going to be up?" Because I want to hear what you guys have to say. Because this is one of our friends who every time we go see a movie or something, we get him on the phone immediately to talk about.
Right.
And I talked about it with him for a good 2 hours. As soon as I saw it, I had him on the phone. I'm like, dude, I watched your show. What'd you think? I think it was I think it was art. I think it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. He's like, okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. And we don't agree on anything. That's what I love talking to him about comic book movies, because we don't agree on shit.
No, y'all don't, really.
Like you and him, kind of, every once in a while, but he's one of those people that is like, oh, yeah, Force Awakens. Hated that movie. Well, calm down, man. It wasn't that bad. So, okay. Gotta take the...
yeah, we gotta wind down here a little bit.
Yeah.
Man, I want to watch the show again.
I totally understand. I absolutely agree. That is definitely something I'll probably do this weekend because, I mean, hell, I just love it so much.
Right.
So we teased you at the beginning of what we're going to talk about next week.
Buddy.
And we throw out a couple of ideas. Eventually, we're going to get to them. We talked about doing Wayne's World, and I didn't want to just keep doing trilogies and what have you, but I brought up the Matrix trilogy and just how much I loved the first movie and how much I have feelings towards the other two. Not going to get into them, but I think last night, just discussing what we wanted to talk about last night, we talked about the Matrix for a good hour.
Yeah, we absolutely did.
Because drinks were flowing and we just couldn't stop. Because like I said earlier, this podcast is just our bar conversations. So when I say we were talking about the Matrix for a good solid hour, you can believe that because I didn't want to stop, but we had to keep going back inside and nobody wanted to hear our conversations. But every time we went outside... So another thing I hate about the Matrix is blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a good topic to have, and I have a lot to say about them as well because
there are theories, observations, nitpicks that I have. I don't want to dive into the Animatrix.
No, me either, because I just don't care.
Yeah, just the straight 1, 2, and 3 for me.
Yeah,
because I've only seen the Animatrix maybe one time.
I've seen it once.
Yeah, it didn't really do a whole lot for me. So I think we're just going to skip that one. So that is what we've got coming for you in the future. And if you're wondering about the week after that, don't get ahead of yourselves because we don't even know.
We'll find out probably after we do the next show.
That's usually how it works. The day before we record a new episode, what are we going to talk about next week?
Exactly.
I don't know. Well, we should probably schedule that more in advance just in case we don't have the movies that we want to talk about or Netflix doesn't have them. I don't know. It's a work in progress. This is only episode 4. So give us a break. All right. That's all I've got.